Hi parents, today I would like to tell you a few tips that as parents we can follow. We are all worried about our children and we all focus and spend a lot of time molding our children, make them behave. But are we successful in that endeavor? This is a question which I am going to address today. Are we good parents? Who is a good parent? Is parenting very important and what are the challenges we face today? We all are parents, but we all want our children to be responsible, obedient, and behaving properly. But do we do that? Do we become good parents to attain to that objective? Definitely no. So today I would like to tell you 7 tips of becoming a good parent in this 21st century. The first point would be boost your child's self-esteem. What we do is we often find fault with our children. We often criticize them, saying that you are good for nothing, you do this and that, why can't you get up early, why can't you study hard, why can't you behave properly. Instead of questioning them very often or criticizing them very often, destructively, why can't we come up with positive talks? Like encouraging them, you are good in something, it can be done in this way. So that is known as a constructive criticism. There is another way of doing it. You can mold your behavior and uplift your behavior. This is the way to do, instead of criticizing them blindly or engaging in destructive criticism. Second one is setting the limits to the children and to your limits. If the children tell you, I want this one or I want that, set the limit. This is my priority, this is my economic status, I cannot fulfill your wishes. At the same time, you can also set the limit for your children that this is the area where you need to be. You should not cross the limits of sublimity, you should not cross the limits of this frontier and involved in our lives. So you should know to set the boundaries and make them follow that boundaries meticulously. And thirdly, nowadays we don't have role models in our society. So our children, they normally look for role models, and unfortunately we don't find role models in our society. And we parents can be role models to them. They should look at us as a role model or an example to follow. So that is why Gandhiji has rightly said, be the change that you want to see in the world. Be the change. So do what you preach and preach what you do. That would definitely make a great difference in the behavior of your children. And fourthly, be a good communicator. Communicate properly. You should not use ambiguous language, a language that may not be understood by the children. You need to tune yourself, simplify yourself to their level of communication, and your communication should be transparent, open, unbiased, unprejudiced, and their communication can be a little bit of assertive. At the same time, it can motivate them, inspire them. So be clear, be precise, and be concise in your communication, and that communication itself definitely would boost their morale, and the children would never go astray if you can communicate it properly. And next tip, fifth one, is a point that can be added to the previous one, which is spend time with your children. Every day, probably for 10 minutes or more than 10 minutes, have time to talk to your children effectively. Ask them what are you doing in the school, who are your friends, and what did your teacher teach you today, or how do you feel about today, what did you eat today. All those questions, casual questions, can be asked to the children. Spend qualitative time for your children. Never forget, this is not your money that is given to them, this is not your power that should be given to them, it is your time which is the most important resource that you can give to your children. Sixth point is be flexible. Most of the time we are not flexible, we are adamant, we are stubborn. We want our children to be in our cup of tea, or we don't want to think outside the box. We want them to be the photocopy of what we are. No, definitely be flexible enough to understand them, comprehend them, assimilate them, and adopt them as they are also unique human beings with unique possibilities and potentialities. And lastly, last point is, that is the most important point, is that we all love our children. We love our children and we say that we love them, but make them feel that it is unconditional. If you tell them that if you score good marks, I would love you, that is conditional. If you behave properly, I would love you, that is conditional. If you have good friends and come up in life as I say, then it is conditional. Make them feel that you are loving them unconditionally without any expectations from them. No matter whether they may fulfill your wishes or dreams or aspirations, if you accept them as they are and love them unconditionally, definitely they will try to follow you, and your children will be the best children out there, and that will be a matter of pride for every one of you. So I would like to sum up this speech by saying that let's be good role models, examples, and people of unconditional love and care. Thank you very much.